Here. Well, please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is going to be public comment. Written public comments can also be submitted to the chair through the superintendent's office and will be read by the chair at the meetings. Written comments must be submitted by noontime on the day of the school committee meeting. I do have written comments that I will read at the conclusion of those that are here in person for public comment. First person on the list for in-person public comment would be Morgan Kelly. We ask each person for public comment, try to stick to 3 minutes if possible. Morgan Kelly.
Hi everyone, I'm Morgan Kelly, a student who's in the early education and care shop here at Whittier Tech. When I learned about the school wanting to close down my shop in masonry, DVC, construction, crash and labor, and engineering and technology, I knew I had to do something, so I started by making a post on what was going on. Then I decided to create a petition. This petition now has 600 signatures and many comments on people's stories and opinions on why this shouldn't be happening. These comments share the opinions of people who have gone to this school and believed from the opportunities given to them. I personally came to Whittier because I knew I needed to become an early education teacher. If I came to Whittier and there wasn't the opportunity to take early education and care, I would have switched schools because my passion for teaching is something I've had since I was little. This is because of how many of my teachers helped me at such a young age, and I knew that without them, I wouldn't be here. My teachers helped me learn and grow and find my purpose, like how Whittier helps students find their purpose and prepare for the future. How can students have a future that involves something they love if you get rid of the shops that guide them along the way? Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Carrie Kelly. Carrie Kelly. Okay. Okay, sorry about that. It's on the list, but. Cassidy J.
Good evening. I am a 2012 alumni of Whittier Tech, and I was in the early childhood education and care shop. Without that shop, I wouldn't have been able to have the opportunities that I was blessed with graduating here with my certification to be a teacher, and then going forward, furthering my career in education and having my master's and my teaching license to teach in a public school. From a young age, I always wanted to be a teacher, and Whittier was the school that was going to give me the opportunity to make my career successful. That's why I chose coming here, and hearing about the closure of this shop is absolutely just breaks my heart, and this world needs more teachers, and if it's closed, then a lot of people who want to be educators aren't going to have that opportunity to get their foot in the door of education.
Thank you. Katie Staunton.
Good evening, school committee and Superintendent Lynch. My name is Katie Staunton. I am a current English teacher. I've been at Whittier Tech since 2017. I am also the WREA president. I was informed of this decision last Wednesday, and one of the things that I have noticed while being in the role as union president is that there is a lack of clear transparency, and in a lot of decisions that are made at the school level, the teacher perspective is not considered, and it's kind of lost as a whole. So with that being said, I would like to just move to read the demand to bargain letter that I had sent on behalf of the WREA to Chairperson Wood earlier today. It has come to the union's attention that the Whittier Regional School Committee is considering a recommendation from Superintendent Maureen Lynch to close 5 vocational shops at Whittier Regional Vocational Technical High School. This decision impacts one or more mandatory subjects of bargaining and therefore must be negotiated with the WREA before implementation. Accordingly, we demand to bargain over this proposed change and ask that you offer us dates and times to negotiate as soon as possible. We expect that you will not implement these changes until we have completed these negotiations. As we negotiate over these changes, the WREA is reserving all of our rights under the contract and law. Additionally, pursuant to our responsibilities under MGL Chapter 150E, the union requests the following information, which is relevant and necessary to perform our duties as the exclusive representative. All internal and external communications among and between school committee members and members of the administration regarding the recommendation to close any vocational shops at Whittier Tech, including but not limited to early education and care, DVC, engineering, CCL, and masonry. A copy of the intent to close letters submitted to DESE, including any drafts and or preparatory documents created by the district and or administration while contemplating this recommendation. If not yet submitted, the union requests that you provide us with a draft to review prior to submitting to DESE. A copy of the technical program closure plans submitted to DESE, including any drafts and or preparatory documents created by the district and or administration while contemplating this recommendation. If not yet submitted, the union requests that you provide us with a draft to review prior to submitting to DESE. The district's rationale for the decision to close each of the shops identified in item number 1 above and any others the district may seek to close, including any and all supporting evidence. For each school year beginning with the school year 2017 to 2018, the student enrollment numbers for each of the shops identified in item number 1 above and any others which the district intends to close, and a detailed description of all efforts by the school committee and the administration, including not limited to those by Superintendent Maureen Lynch to communicate with and solicit feedback from the impacted students of Whittier Tech, their caregivers and or educators prior to making the recommendation to close any vocational shops at the February 12th, 2025 school committee meeting. Please provide the requested information as electronic files with the information requested within 2 weeks of this request. If you are unable to provide the requested information within that time frame, please send an explanation with the expected time frame for a response. And please feel free to contact me with any questions or comments. Thank you for your prompt attention to this matter. Thank you all.
Brian Goulet.
Hello, school committee. My name is Brian Goulet. I represent myself as a former alumni and owner of Diamond Ridge Construction, LLC. I am here to express my deep concern and strong belief in vital importance of keeping shops at Whittier Tech open and thriving. As a member of this community, I have witnessed firsthand the lasting impact these programs on students, our local economy, and future skilled trades. In today's rapidly evolving economy, technical education and the trades are more important than ever. We are facing growth shortages of skilled workers in blue-collar trades, such as the ones that you guys are looking to close. I don't want to just make it just a blue-collar thing. It's all the shops that you guys are looking to close within here is kind of where I'm aiming at. But they all play an essential role in addressing this gap. These industries not only provide good-paying jobs, but they also are the backbone and infrastructure, manufacturing, and overall economic vitality. For many students, and hands-on learning provided in these shops is a pathway to successful career. It offers practical skills, a sense of accomplishment, and opportunity to build a future based on their talents. Closing or reducing these programs would not only deprive students in these invaluable opportunities, but it would also signal that these careers are less valuable than others. And that's something that I don't believe is the truth. Skilled workers are in high demand, and these trades are both stability and growth potential. Moreover, the value of these programs extend beyond the students. The community as a whole benefits from these expertise and talents that graduates bring to local businesses and industries like myself. Supporting blue-collar education fosters self-sufficiency, ensures that local businesses have access to skilled workers, and helps sustain a regional economy. I strongly urge the committee to recognize the long-term benefits of keeping these shops open and fully support. These programs are more than an educational offering. They are vital to the success and sustainability of our workforce and community. Thank you for considering my thoughts and allowing me to speak on behalf of many successful students who once walked these hallways and graduated from these very programs that I potentially could be closed.
Thank you. Katie Smazik.
Hello and good evening. My name is Katie Smazik, and I am the engineering technology instructor here. I'm not going to take my time up here talking about my program. I inherited it 3 years ago, where I inherited a sophomore class of 1 student, and during my tenure in the last 2 years, that has grown to 10 to 15 students. Instead, I'm going to read a letter from one of my coworkers who is unable to be here tonight, who is discussing the closure of the early ed program. There are many sentiments in this letter that are echoed in all of our programs, including my own. Dear school committee members, I'm writing to express my deep concern regarding the proposed closure of the early ed and care program at Whittier Vocational Technical High School. As a mother, an educator, and a community member, and a former student graduate of the EEC program, I strongly urge you to reconsider this decision. It would have a profound and negative impact on our students, families, and the future workforce of Massachusetts. Early child care is an essential field currently facing a workforce shortage. Not only is there a shortage in this field, there is also a pattern of steady growth. The Merrimack Valley will always need teachers, and this early ed program at Whittier has been a fundamental source of competent educators. Their program is a crucial component of career and technical education throughout our state. It provides students with invaluable hands-on experience, professional certifications, and direct career pathways in all education. By eliminating this program, we not only strip students of career opportunities, but also weaken the quality of education in our own communities. Instead of closing an essential program, I encourage the committee to explore alternative solutions. If you look at how the budget is distributed in early ed, there may be solutions to savings. If early ed was to open a child care facility, it would bring in money. The benefits of this program outweigh the cost of its closure, and I urge you to prioritize the needs of our students, families, and community. If the reason to close early ed is caused by the lack of interest in students, then we should be asking the students why. Please consider the voices of students, parents, and educators who have seen firsthand the value of this program. I thank you for your commitment to our students and the future of our school. I hope to see your support in preserving early ed and early education and care, as this is a critical career and educational pathway. Sincerely, Amanda Helchuk. As I mentioned, many of these sentiments are echoed in other programs that are being considered for closure, including engineering, where students are given the opportunity to learn and discover a STEM pathway that they might not have considered for themselves. Thank you for your time.
Lasanji Rodriguez.
Hi everyone, how are you? Superintendent Lynch, hello. My name is Lisandri Rodriguez. I graduated from Design and Visual Communications in 2012. I've come here, as so many others, to learn what has happened to make such an important shop like Design and Visual Communications to be put on the chopping block. I know things change and generations change, but there's always going to be a need for a place for creative kids to express themselves. Whether it's through illustration, animation, photography, videography, designing, the shop that you choose ends up being like a chosen family in a way. Design and Visual Communications has always been a safe space for those kids who may have felt a little different and could express themselves through so many different mediums and learn skill sets that set them up for success. So many of my fellow alumni have started their own businesses because of DVC. I've had my own photography business since sophomore year of high school. I've also used those skill sets to come back and teach photography at Whittier night school classes. Design and Visual Communications also taught us the importance of deadlines. Each week we had an assignment which we had to then present the finished product in front of the rest of the shop and my instructor, Mr. Trainer. This kind of experience of not only finishing your assignment before the deadline, but then presenting and explaining why you made all your choices was invaluable experience for college and the rest of the real world. While I'm not sure what challenge Design and Visual Communications is facing today, I implore you to reconsider. Don't give up on this program. Don't deny future generations of lessons and skill sets Design and Visual Communications teach us. I've always had the mantra is of if you build it, they will come. And I'm sure that if you give Design and Visual Communications a chance to get its bearings again, those numbers will go up and those super creative kids won't be displaced. Thank you so much for allowing me to say my piece. I want to thank my instructor, Mr. Brian Trainer, for all that he instilled in me that I still use 13 years later. Thank you to Ms. Kate Fullerton, and rest in peace, Mr. Riccio. Thank you.
Elizabeth Devaney.
Good evening, school committee and Superintendent Lynch. My name is Elizabeth Devaney. I am an educator here in the Whittier Tech English Department. I've been here for 18 years, and I'm a resident of Newburyport. I'm here to read a letter on behalf of a former student who couldn't be here tonight, but she wanted to express some of her thoughts. Dear Superintendent Lynch and school committee, my name is Lorena Oquendo, and I had the privilege of serving as the secretary for Whittier Tech's class of 2024. I am writing to express my deep concern and disappointment regarding the removal of 5 trade areas, a decision that I believe will have a detrimental impact on both the school and the community it serves. I am absolutely appalled by the news of these shop areas being eliminated. These programs are not just electives. They are essential to the success of both the students who rely on them for career preparation and the broader community that benefits from the skills developed within them. As a proud graduate of the Design and Visual Communications program, which I was a part of for all 4 years, I can personally attest to the importance of these trade areas. The removal of DVC and other programs will have a lasting negative effects, and I feel compelled to speak out. DVC in particular has fostered a sense of community and belonging for many students, especially those who identify within the LGBTQIA+ community. Within the walls of our classroom, our instructors created a safe, welcoming environment where students felt free to express their creativity and be their authentic selves. For many, this was the only place in the school where they felt truly comfortable. The removal of DVC and the other trade areas will strip these students of that refuge, leaving them without that supportive, like-minded community that has been vital to their growth. Beyond the emotional and social impact, eliminating DVC will also cause significant logistical and operational issues for the school. The program provides essential services that Whittier has long benefited from, including poster design, yearbook production, photography, magazine creation, and other design-related projects. Without DVC, the school will be forced to outsource these tasks, which will not only be costly, but also remove valuable real-world learning experiences for students. I cannot express enough how deeply passionate I am about this issue. The removal of these trade areas is a short-sighted decision that will have long-lasting consequences for students, instructors, and the Whittier community as a whole. These programs are more than just classes. They shape futures, build confidence, and provide critical skills that extend far beyond the classroom. I urge you to reconsider this decision and recognize the profound impact it will have on both current and future students. Sincerely, Lorena Oquendo, Whittier class of 2024. Thank you.
Samuel Kamola.
Hi, I'm Samuel Kamola, and I apologize for my ill-prepared speech. I was only made aware of this meeting about 2 hours ago. Now, I am here to defend our shops. DVC is a shop that I did not attend, but my loving boyfriend of 5 years attended. That shop provided him so many opportunities in life, and he would not be where he is today without that shop. His teacher, Brian Trainer, helped him prepare his portfolio, which got him into his dream college. It was also a safe space for him. As a trans man, the world was against him. DVC was his only safe space. Home was not a safe place for him. Brian Trainer made sure he always had a home in his class. As for early ed, we need more educators. I graduated in 2022. My shop was electrical. We did not have a related teacher for months. My related teacher quit, and the school could not find a replacement for him. We need more educators. Why are we going to close a shop that provides our community with educators if we don't have enough educators? As for masonry and what's the other one? Construction labor? I work in the industry. We don't have enough good help. The kids coming in nowadays don't know anything. No one's taught them. They have no experience because they couldn't get into a tech school. Their tech school failed them. Honestly, a lot of the kids that I work with from this school could have used a better education. So why are we going to strip even more kids of their education? Thank you.
Thank you. That's it for the in-person list. I do have to read into the record some emails that were received. The first one, it says, I'm Cassandra Gove, Mayor of the City of Amesbury and Chair of the Amesbury School Committee. I understand you're faced with the difficult decision to vote on the suspension of the 5 CTE programs tonight. The suspension of programs and offering is never an easy decision. It's a position the Amesbury School Committee has been faced with year over year. I often remind myself that as a public servant, it's my responsibility to act courageously and represent all voices from the community. As appointed representatives from the 11 cities and towns that comprise the Whittier School District, I encourage you to be reminded of the feedback you have heard over the last 13 months from all voices. I commend Superintendent Lynch for responding to the feedback and making difficult decisions to control the Whittier budget. She's made this recommendation based on data and facts. The district communities are working collaboratively to make informed decisions about the future of the school to ensure strong, healthy, and safe options are available to Wildcats of today and tomorrow. I ask you to vote in favor of closing these programs tonight to keep us focused on moving forward together. Sincerely, Mayor Cassandra Gove. Next one. Dear Mr. Wood, we are writing as the parents of current Whittier Tech freshman who is very passionate about getting the opportunity to select design and visual communications as her first choice shop. We are asking the school committee to please reconsider any plans to close the DVC program or any other programs for currently enrolled students. Doing so would be blatantly unjust to the students who are presently pursuing these programs. Our students have been subjected to enough fluctuations in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic, and these proposed significant changes to the Whittier Tech Career and Technical Education program have the potential to significantly impact students' mental health as well as their future career success. Countless studies have demonstrated that STEM education is essential for our students, providing them with critical thinking, problem solving, and innovation skills that are fundamental for navigating our increasingly complex world. To see that 2 of the 5 proposed programs to be closed are STEM-related is incredibly disheartening. As parents, we chose to send our child to Whittier Tech because of the school's capacity to provide a competitive career, technical, and academic education, and because of its reputation as an environment where students thrive and are supported in their chosen career pathway. Students in this year's freshman class have spent the last 2 terms exploring all of Whittier Tech Shop's programs, including the 5 proposed to be closed. Closing 1 or more of these programs now, when the freshman class is being asked to choose their top 3 choices to pursue for the rest of their time at Whittier Tech, would be unfair to these students. Our daughter entered Whittier Tech in the fall with the intention of pursuing DVC as her chosen shop program. After careful consideration of the other program options, DVC remains her top choice. She will be devastated if she can no longer pursue DVC at Whittier Tech. I urge you, Superintendent Lynch, and the other members of the school committee to consider the concerns and needs of our students before coming to a decision regarding the closure of any shops. Sincerely, James and Marissa Torillo. Next one says, my daughter, a third-generation DVC student, graduates this year, carrying on a family tradition of benefiting from this vital program. DVC provides crucial training in communication, marketing, and design, skills essential in today's tech-driven economy. In 2025, it is no surprise that tech-forward careers are the future for our country. DVC is very much a part of the tech industry boom. Stripping the school of this closes the outlet to incoming students with artistic abilities to be able to showcase their talents. From the DVC program, students can find work in fields like photography, web design, advertising, creative directors, working in the film industry, etc. The list goes on. Many schools have removed art programs from their curriculum due to budget constraints, once again failing the students who need it most. Whittier needs to have this outlet for incoming kids, and they need a staff who are willing to show them what the shop is all about, not boast about their impending retirement. Please reconsider not only keeping this shop open, but investing in this shop and helping it flourish. Let's focus on ensuring DVC's future success and its ability to empower students for years to come. Katie Bowman. Unfortunately, I am unable to attend the meeting tomorrow, but as a parent of a sophomore at Whittier Tech and a strong supporter of vocational training, I would like to register my opposition to the proposed closing of the following vocational programs: engineering, construction laborers, masonry, early education in childcare, and design and visual communications. Efforts should be made to broaden access to training in these fields rather than remove them from your school. Thank you, Susan Martison. Dear Superintendent, I'm absolutely shocked at hearing rumors of the closing of early childhood masonry, DVC, engineering, and CAD. As a 2021 alumni and former vice president, it baffles me that such a decision could be made. I have recommended this school for its diverse selection of trades, but hearing this is outrageous. I hope this is not true, and if it is, I'm ashamed in Whittier Tech. Antonio Infante. I hope this email finds you well. I'm emailing to express my concern for the closing of multiple shops at Whittier Tech. I graduated from Whittier in 2019 from design and visual communications. I gained so much skill, knowledge, and experience being in the shop and got to really take the skills I learned out to the real world. It's unfortunate that the shops are closing, as I know many people who benefited them. I hope something can be done to influence the decision. Noelle Elise. This is Paul Greeley from the class of 1996. I was in graphic arts that I know Mr. Riccio, but since he's gone in 2022, rest in peace to him. Anyways, shops are cool. It's awesome. Train students from 9 to 12th grade. Thanks, Paul from class of 96. Dear Superintendent Lynch, as a former Whittier Tech student, I'm deeply disappointed to hear about the plan to shut down several vocational shops. These programs aren't just classes, they're life-changing opportunities that give students real skills and career paths. During my time at Whittier, the hands-on learning these shops provided me made a huge difference in my education and future. Many of us have built successful careers because of them. Closing these programs would take away opportunities from students who need them and hurt industries that rely on skilled workers. I urge you to reconsider this decision. These shops are a core part of what makes Whittier Tech so valuable to the students and community. Please keep them open. Pedro Rosario, class of 2017. I hope this email finds you well. I'm writing to express my disheartenment upon learning that the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education has decided to close a number of vital programs at Whittier Tech. As a former student at Whittier Tech, I have seen firsthand the incredible impact these programs have on students, families, and the communities as a whole. These technical shops are not just educational opportunities, they provide real-world skills and open doors for those who may not have access to the career paths elsewhere. The students benefit immensely, gaining hands-on experience and preparing for careers in fields that are crucial to our economy. The broader community, too, reaps the rewards of having a skilled and trained workforce. Eliminating these programs would be a disservice to our community and would undermine the core mission of Whittier Tech, to prepare students for careers in a lifelong learning through both academic and technical education. It is impossible to fulfill this mission if we take away opportunities for students to gain the kind of practical hands-on training that these shops provide. I urge you to reconsider this decision and to keep these programs in place. They are essential to the continued success and growth of the students and the community at large. I appreciate your time and consideration. I hope a resolution can be released that enables Whittier Tech to continue providing these essential opportunities for future generations. Sincerely, Olivia Elliott, a former student of Whittier Votech. To whom it may concern, I'm a graduate of the class of 2014, and while at my time at Whittier Tech, I studied with Mrs. Cashman and Miss Fullerton. Miss Cashman, Mr. Trainer, and Mr. Riccio were a key piece of people's lives, their development as humans, and for some of us, a big jump start in our careers. There was deadlines that we needed to meet, processes that we ran, and so many different programs that we use that to this day that I use in my current career. It breaks my heart to see Whittier will be stripping some of these shops from the trade programs where current and incoming students will no longer have the ability. I know plenty of other former students who are so wildly disappointed in Whittier Votech about the closure of not just DVC, but other trades that are disappearing along with it, such as early education and childcare, a trade where I am sure that many educators wish they could have access to at a young age to jolt them into their future career. There are many, many now teachers that are so proud that they found their passion for teaching so early in life. Please reconsider your decision on getting rid of these shops. Emily Quinlan Hillner, class of 2014. My name is Sandra Mixing, and I'm writing in regards to the recent news of eliminating some of the programs at Whittier. My daughter, class of 2008, class treasurer, captain of the varsity cheerleading squad, successfully completed design and visual communication. To hear this program would be potentially taken away from current and future students is heartbreaking. My son, class of 11, captain of the soccer team, successfully completed masonry. To hear that this program would be taken away is also heartbreaking. All of these programs currently provided through Whittier are crucial work skills needed for your/our students' future. I am sure that you have read a lot of emails, and I apologize for taking your time. I wanted you to hear from a parent of two that graduated from your school, Sandra Mixon. We are residents of Merrimack, Mass. And grandparents of Whittier student. We urge the school committee to vote against the proposal to close several school programs. Over the years, we've been impressed with the number of people providing varied services to us, including construction, who receive their training at Whittier. We believe these programs benefit the community as well as provide good jobs for our students and should be considered. Sincerely, David and Loretta Martison. I am disheartened to hear the school committee is considering the elimination of several vocational areas. I urge everyone to consider that all shops Whittier has to offer is the main attraction of what makes the school excellent options, a varying interest of all kids. All 5 shop areas that are up for debate are important areas of occupation. Early education and care is essential for shaping our next generation. Masonry and construction build the infrastructure of where we live, learn, and work, and also consist of aging workforces that require a younger generation to replace its skill set. Perhaps the most upsetting to hear about is losing design and visual communication in engineering and technology, 2 fields that are directly related to modern advances with rapidly evolving technology. AI is currently changing what we do and how we do it daily, so the need for a workforce with understanding of these topics is crucial. I no longer live in the state, or I would attend this meeting myself for the vote. My hope is that these points are considered heavily in your decision. Thank you. Regan Milmore, class of 2012. My name is Tamisha Malone. I'm a board-certified psychotherapist, published author, international public educator, capital lobbyist, alongside several esteemed accomplishments within my field. Most importantly, however, I'm a proud graduate of Whittier Votech, class of 2013. I'm writing to you today to express my deep concerns regarding the expected anticipated closure of several prominent trade options, one of which laid the foundation that prompted autonomy, allowing me to thrive in my career. A bit about me. I am the daughter and granddaughter of a well-established local carpenters. I pride myself on having the passion to ensure self-sufficiency, no matter which direction my life takes me. The development and enhancement fundamental trade skills I received throughout my time in the carpentry program at Whittier allowed me to take risks, continue to pursue my passions, and reach for the stars. I knew my trade would always be a haven for my life successes. Without the core education I received at Whittier, I would not have been able to work throughout college, provide for my family, or be a mother who is able to fix projects without relying on others. I write to you with tremendous empathy during your decision process. It is understandable that change is needed to promote growth, and as a consumer, these fundamental trades matter to the routine livelihood of human function. As a proud alumni, I ask you to please reconsider when identifying growth areas of need. Fundamental trade skills are essential, no matter where life may lead future alumni. Sincerely, Tamisha Malone. As a 20-year veteran teacher with 8 of those years here in the district, I've seen firsthand the transformative power of hands-on learning. I'm writing you today to be a champion, to champion our vital vocational and technical educational programs, specifically engineering, construction, laborers, and masonry, early education and childcare, and design and visual communication shops. These aren't just shops, they're the gateway for our kids, offering real-world skills and preparing them for meaningful careers in New England. Look, I get it, budgets are tight, but we can't afford to shortchange these programs. They're vital, now more than ever, because the job market is changing fast. And while some folks worry about robots taking over, the truth is, the jobs of the future, even in the trades, will require people who can work with technology, including AI. That's why we need to modernize these programs, integrate AI literacy and relevant tools into the curriculum. It's not about turning everyone into programmers. It's about giving them the edge they need to thrive in a tech-driven world. Let's take a closer look at each program. The engineering program needs to be a pipeline for the next generation of engineers, but not just the theoretical kind. We need to teach them how AI is changing the field, from AI-driven robotics to AI-powered modeling. Think robotics, software engineering, all areas where AI is becoming essential, create high-paying jobs right here in our region. We're facing a real shortage of skilled tradespeople in the construction and masonry. These programs offer a direct path to good-paying jobs right here at home. But even in these fields, AI is making a difference. Think AI-based project management, AI-powered diagnostic for technicians, and even AI-assisted design for masons. We need to prepare our students for this reality. Early education in childcare is crucial, not just for kids, but for the whole community. It's about nurturing young minds, and while I strongly believe the importance of early childhood education, I also know that many of these students will go on to work in elementary schools. That's why this program needs to prioritize the foundational skills, reading, writing, and math, that are essential for success in those settings. We need to equip these students to support early literacy and numerous development. In today's digital world, these skills are in high demand, from social media marketing to graphic design, web design. These are jobs that are booming. And AI is changing the game here too. With AI-powered design tools and analytics, design and visual communications has the potential to become a leading program in the region if properly supported. We need to make sure our students are ready to leverage these technologies. I've been in the classroom long enough to know what works. We need targeted recruitment to get more kids into these programs. We need to update our curriculum to reflect current industry standards and integrate AI literacy. We need to partner with local businesses to provide real-world experience and mentorship. Finally, we need to actively seek grant funding to support these efforts. I urge the committee to consider these recommendations and prioritize the funding and support necessary to ensure the continued success and modernization of these programs. I'm confident that by working together, we can equip our students with the skills they need to thrive in the 21st century. Sincerely, Sarah Anderson. This is just absurd, all of this going on right now, honestly. I mean, this is what the school was known for, and this is why people wanted to go there and build careers and make something out of themselves, follow their dreams. How dare anyone even consider shutting them down? Who even has the say to do this and is able to is messed up. Laura Dent. I am a junior in early education and care. I came to Whittier looking to take child care before I even went on my 8th grade tour. Right as I saw the shop, I knew I wanted to take it. I could never imagine the one shop I couldn't wait to join no longer being available. This is completely unfair to all freshmen and incoming Whittier Tech students. None of these shops should be on the shopping block. Masonry helps the community by using the experience they learn throughout their years in the program. EEC goes out to daycare centers starting sophomore year and have helped staff daycare centers in the community, Little Sprouts and Amesbury, Mass. Being one. DVC does all the yearbooks, all the flyers, and whatever the school needs. Engineering is a shop that is going to be gaining interest because of the peak in STEM. CCL is a new shop that has started last year and hasn't even gotten a fair chance to thrive. It made no sense that the fact that this would have been swept under the rug till last minute is awful. As a school, you need to realize that what you are doing is so wrong. All these teachers work so hard to make sure their students thrive, but you want to take away from them. Everyone should have a fair shot to follow their dreams, but no, you want to take their dreams away. The administration needs to realize that they are in the wrong, and a petition has been set up to show how many people disagree with this decision. This isn't something that can be hidden, and as a student, our voices have been heard by the community, and you need to listen to our voices. Shape Lord. Dear Miss Lynch, my son, Israel Griffin, is a freshman at Whittier this year, and he recently shared his concern about potentially not being able to choose his preferred shop. I also read that the school is considering closing 5 existing programs to make room for plumbing and HVAC. His top choice is engineering, and he was hoping to build a strong foundation in the field to give him a competitive edge when applying to college engineering program. The issue I take with these program cuts is the timing of their implementation. Freshmen have already spent weeks exploring different shops, taking valuable time away from their core education, only to find out just a week before selection that some of these options are no longer available. I ask that you consider integrating the effective programs into related ones, such as combining CAD with engineering. If these programs must be cut, I strongly urge you to allow the current freshman class to select from all the existing shops before implementing these changes for future classes. I truly appreciate the time and thought that goes into making these important decisions, and I hope you will consider this perspective. Lindsay Griffin. That is it for public comment. Before I close it out, is there anyone else here for public comment?
Good evening, everybody. My name is... There we go. All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Remy Collins, and I am a former alumni of Whittier Tech, class of 2012. A lot of us actually showed up from 2012, so that's pretty exciting. I'm a student that I chose graphics right from the beginning of my freshman year, and I later changed into health occupations. And later on in life, that is a big regret that I have. Currently, I am an owner of a tie-dye company, and my business wouldn't be where it is today if it wasn't for graphics. I do graphics for web design. I also do social media for different businesses, locally and also nationwide. And I've also sold shirts all over the world. My business, again, wouldn't be where it's at today if it wasn't for my background of graphics. So I just really, really, really hope that graphics isn't closed. Another thing, too, is I am about to be a mother of 2, and I don't think education is going anywhere, obviously. You guys all need jobs, so I think it would be kind of a silly decision to be closing childcare. Thank you so much for your time.
I am one of the design and visual communications teachers. I hadn't planned to speak, so I don't have anything written down, but I just want to say that I'm very moved by all the positive things that all the people that reached out and said some wonderful things in support of our shops. A lot of students will be missing out on opportunities if we close down every one of the 5 shops that are slated for being closed up. As an educator, I don't do this just for money. I don't do this just as a job. I do this for the kids. And if you ask every single one of the teachers in this building, they'll tell you the same thing. We are very passionate about what we do. We care about our students. I want my students to have a future. I want our future students to have a future. And I thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Sabrina Duckworth, and I am the Early Learning Director at the YMCA Children's Learning Center in downtown Haverhill. I am also a proud alumna of Whittier Tech's class of 2011 Early Education and Care Program and serve on the shop's advisory board. My 18-year career in early ed began the moment I stepped into the childcare program during Freshman Exploratory. This experience was pivotal in discovering my passion and shaping my career path. Without it, I would not have found this field or achieved my current position. The hands-on experience I gained here allowed me to graduate with both a diploma and a teaching certificate. This enabled me to immediately start teaching and work my way up to my director role, where I can support families and children in our community. Whittier Tech's Early Ed and Care program graduates can become lead teachers by the age 21, offering them competitive salaries and the opportunity to make a significant community impact. 50% of my current staffing came from the Early Ed program here at Whittier Tech. The potential loss of this influx of new educators into the field will severely strain my staffing for local childcare programs, including those in Whittier's own community. This will negatively impact residents and childcare centers in surrounding areas who require daily childcare, consistent quality childcare. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Anyone else here for public comment? Anyone else? All right, seeing none.
Hello, I'm Kate Leary. I'm a junior at Whittier Tech, and I'm speaking in support of the Masonry program, and on behalf of the 2026 class in Masonry. I have nothing but positive things to say about my shop. The program guides students to become hard workers by using their creativity and hands-on work. Many of the students in my shop have bright futures with job opportunities in the masonry field. My shop has strongly willed students who aspire to stay in the field, and we tend to attract students with passion. Masonry also has loyal and dedicated teachers with several years of experience in the trades. They have built a supportive and welcoming community for our shop. I saw a news article today stating that Whittier Tech is considering closing shops with declining interest. In spring of 2024, we had 20 freshmen enter my shop, which are high numbers for the program. I've also heard of several freshmen considering choosing masonry as their vocation, and it is upsetting to see them have to pick something they don't truly pursue. It is devastating to hear about the shop closures, and I hope you can all consider my opinion. I would also like to give a special thanks to Paul Boucher and Matthew Palmer for making my vocational education experience the best it could be. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Seeing none. Without objection, we're going to move up item under V7, the CTE program closures, for discussion now. Madam Superintendent, I'd ask that we take into each individual program separately with the numbers of explaining the rationale for those programs to be closed. And I did have a conversation with you earlier today, and I would also ask, in light of the numbers in one of those programs being the masonry program, I'd ask that you withdraw that from your proposal.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend withdrawing masonry from the closure program.
We'll remove masonry from the list of proposed program closures. And we'll take up first early education and care.
So I have a PowerPoint. Can we just follow the PowerPoint?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. So the program closures are construction craft laborers, design and visual communications, early education care, and engineering. Gosh. So we ask our ninth graders, after exploring all 24 trade areas, to choose which trade area that they think they will be pursuing for the remainder of their time here at Whittier. So this is all 24 trade areas, and this is where students really showed their interest. As you can see, electrical had 63 students that were interested in that program. Obviously, we cannot fit 62 students into our electrical program, so those students are gonna have to go with their second choice. But, you know, this is how we started to make decisions based on enrollment and desire of the students. You know, we say the resources follow the kids. And to have programs that there's not many kids in, it takes away from some of the other programs where we need to add more resources to those programs. So this is the historical enrollment of all of them. Construction Craft Laborers was a new program to us this year. We did have students explore through it. The anticipated amount of students that were interested in pursuing that after the exploratory program was only 2. Design and visual communications, the students went through that program as well, and the amount of students was 4 out of 340 or so students. Early education and care, they had 4 students as well that were interested in pursuing that program. Engineering had 6. So construction craft laborers, I think I'm just gonna skip this one. It was never a program that we actually had students enrolled in at this point. And they only had 2 students that were interested in pursuing that. Design and visual communication, we have a total of 26 students right now from grades 10 to 12, and only 4 students chose that for grade 9. We are graduating 14 students from that program. So out of those seniors in that program, when we look at co-op, only 1 of the 14 seniors is working in a co-op position right now. Early education and care. So only 4 freshman students chose that program for this year. Last year, only 1 did. So we have 6 seniors that will be graduating. We have 4 juniors, 1 10th grader, and now 4 freshmen that are interested in pursuing that program. Engineering, we had 6 freshmen that are interested in pursuing that program. There are 2 seniors that are graduating. So a grade 10, there's 10 students, grade 11, 15, and then for the 9th grade, it would be 6. Masonry enrollment, I don't know if you want me to go through that.
I don't think you have to.
Okay.
We're gonna withdraw it.
Okay. Design and visual, when we look at co-op numbers, again, only 1 out of those 14 seniors is actually working in the trade area during co-op. Early education care, 5 out of 6 are. Engineering, 2 out of 2. And then masonry, only 3 out of 8. So reasons for the closure. Each program was selected for closure based on the current and historical enrollment. It's not because we don't think that they're worthy programs or programs that add value to Whittier Tech. It really is looking at the historical enrollment. Despite all grade 9 students exploring all 24 programs, less than 6 students per program selected one of these programs as their first choice at a mid-year survey. We have at least 2 programs right now that will require an additional instructor for the 25-26 school year due to increased enrollment. And all students currently enrolled in the impacted programs will be able to complete the program and graduate with their trade certificate in that program. Closure dates, because we didn't enroll current grade 9 students, those students are not currently enrolled in the program. So incoming grade 8 students will not explore the impacted programs for the 25-26 year. At the conclusion of the 25-26 year, construction craft laborers will close. DVC will be reduced to 1 instructor. At the conclusion of the 2027 school year, design and visual closes, early education and care closes, engineering closes as well. And that is all I have for my presentation this evening.
Okay. So, just to kind of streamline that, why don't we take the questions that we have on each program specifically, and we'll just go down the line. The first one is early education and care. So any comments or questions for the superintendent under the early education and career program?
Can we go back to the enrollment slide? 'Cause I feel like it's
Sure. Can you go back to the enrollment slide, Angel? For early education and care?
That one, yep. Nope, the enrollment.
The,
Yeah.
One more.
The historic.
one of the first slides you have that has all of the anticipated grade 9 selection by, that one, right?
Nope, next one. Yep.
That one. Yeah. Oh, the historical?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess on early education, rough numbers, right, it dropped about 25%, then 30%, and then more than 50% year over year.
Do we, based on the outpouring of support for that, do we see any trend as to why the numbers of enrollment have dropped to such a significant number based on the demand that's out there?
I'd be guessing. I mean, really, it's a student interest about whether they want to pursue those trade areas. And, you know, the students just didn't seem to, you know, want to pursue that area. There is a significant, you know, need for education teachers and early education teachers. And there's no denying that part, but the issue really is having, you know, less than 10 students run in a trade area, when I have other trade areas that really need those resources.
And just to be clear, I think you said that the people that are currently, the kids that are currently enrolled will graduate
Yes.
in that.
Yes.
Anyone else? Mr. Early?
A lot of moving parts here. I heard class of 12 speak, and I heard a lot of the letters over there. There's a big gap from class of 12 to only 4 people want it next year. Is there any data on this, or is there a reason?
Again, I can guess about the reason. I don't necessarily know why students are not choosing those trade areas.
How many are in there right now? 24, 25, 10?
For which area?
For early ed.
We're on early ed.
So there's only 1 in grade 10, 4 in grade 11, and 6 will be graduating in grade 12.
Not a lot. Thank you.
Ms. Lowell?
You know, I think there's no doubt that there's a very high demand. All the students who are seniors are working. There's a very high demand in that area, but it's not as competitive for when you maybe are 15, 16 years old and looking around at the other vocational areas in the building for a competitive wage in that area as well. So I think that has I believe that, and I'm just speaking from my own perspective, I'm also on the Y board, and I'm well aware of the incredible program the Y offers and for childcare in this area, and the several students that work there, as the director explained. But it's obviously been an area that has shown a dramatic decline, and it's hard to justify a full classroom and a teacher when you have these other areas that have the demand. And we've always said, is when I was working here and working now on this board, we want to make sure the dollars follow the children, and making sure we're meeting as much need as we can for the community. And unfortunately, in this area, we're not putting out the students that the demand is there for. It'll have to rely on the high schools and the colleges to put out that, for students to pursue those areas. But I think I'm going to take it just conjecture that a 15 or 16-year-old who's walking around this building and seeing these areas that maybe the other areas are just pulling more demand. And unless a student is really coming in committed to those areas, to early education and care, they're not choosing it when they're considering other options versus the other vocational areas. So it's difficult to see it go because I know the Y really relies on Whittier Tech to provide that workforce. But if we're only looking at putting out a couple of students a year, that's not going to meet their needs either.
Mr. Early?
Now, some of the teachers, whether it's in early ed or design, can they go into teaching in other subjects
If they're licensed.
if they're licensed? Thank you.
Ms. O'Connor?
I had a couple of questions. One of them is, I was curious why masonry has been removed from the 5 CTE list. And the other concern that I have is there was obviously a need at some point in time to start these CTEs. And if we shut them down, like, I guess what was measured to know that we needed them? And that if we shut them down, how are we gonna know if we need to bring them back?
Those are great questions. I mean, really, it's the blueprint, the Northeast blueprint that you look at when you're trying to plan programs. When you open up a program, like construction craft laborers, there's a need for that program. There is definitely a need, and I would say there's a need in early education and care. The issue really is the enrollment that we have here, the economics of what we have going on here in our building. We have opened up programs in dental, in health assisting, in marine technology over the last few years. So, Whittier's going to continue to, have some programs, lose some programs, have other programs. Like we just can't stay the same. That's not what the workforce in our region needs.
So, and also, why was masonry taken off the docket?
Enrollment. When we really looked at the enrollment and if we can combine construction craft laborers and masonry, we think we can give that at least another year to see if we can continue to let it grow.
So is construction now coming off of the list if it's gonna be combined with masonry?
Well, yes, for the day school. What I'd like to do, and that's a whole other story, what I'd like to do is see if I can have it as an after dark program or a night school program. That was a lot of work to open up that program and to get the certification to be a construction craft laborers school. So I'd like to figure out a way that I can do it either after dark or at night.
So when you say after dark or at night, we're not talking about the adult ed, we're talking about, after the kids are done with their home high schools, they come here and...
That's after dark. At night, it's CTI, our CTI program. That's the adult program. They could use that if you have the cert.
Would that be an option for the early education as well?
No.
Further discussion on early education. Mr. Lai?
Just curious about, first of all, I totally understand the decision that has to be made. I think our districts, to Mayor Gove's point, are going through the exact same conversations about having to make some really difficult decisions about which programs to keep and which programs not to keep. So I appreciate this is a really, really difficult decision before us. In terms of, as I think about some of these programs, early ed programs, I know at least certainly when I was working in Salem, that Salem High School offered an early education care program, I think as a Chapter 74 program. Curious, do you know if any of the other districts, I think Haverhill specifically, has or has plans to have an early education Chapter 74 program, or is there anything like that?
Generally, if your regional vocational technical school has a Chapter 74 program, you can't open that up. So if we don't have that, then Haverhill really does have the opportunity to open that up.
And then I think, I just wanted to confirm, there was one student in early education and care that was in 10th grade.
Mm-hmm.
That student, in the program's closing at the end of 26,
Mm-hmm.
that student will still be allowed to.
Right, so we're going to do work-based learning. We'll work with that student.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any further discussion on early education and care? Questions? Anyone else? One thing I would suggest if early education in care passes is following up on what Ms. Delai said. When I was serving on the Haverhill School Committee, we were having discussions about establishing a program like this, but obviously Whittier had it. I would reach out to Haverhill and have some discussions with them if we do have to see if they still have some interest in establishing that, and anything we can do to work together with Haverhill in order to successfully establish that program, I think would be helpful.
100% happy to do that.
Any further discussion on early education and care? Is there a motion, one way or another, relative to early education and care?
Are you looking for a motion to basically support the recommendation of the superintendent to close the early?
Yeah, we're going to do it one by one, so that I think it's just
I
cleaner
will
that way.
offer that motion for consideration.
Motion made by Ms. Delai to accept the superintendent's recommendation for the closure of the early education and care program. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded. Is there any further discussion on the motion on the table? All right, having said that, call the roll on the motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation on the closure of early education and care.
Mr. Early?
I have a quick question on that. People that are in there now will graduate.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Early?
To close it?
Yes, accepting the superintendent's recommendation for the phase-out closure of early
Yes.
education and care.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Ms. Delai?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mr. Irving? Where'd he go?
TV's off.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Lowell?
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor?
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Slavoski?
Yes.
Is Mr. Irving back?
We
The
can't-
TV's not on.
Can't see him or hear him, so he's not allowed to vote. Passes.
Okay.
If you want Mr. Irvin's discussion, somebody's going to have to turn that TV back on, or he can't participate in the discussion. Do you have a preference? Or just go in order? TVC? Okay. So we're going to move on to the next one. On the list here is DVC, Design and Visual Communications. Is there questions from the committee relative to the Design and Visual Communications program?
I do, but it's kind of an open question for the remaining vocational areas. Did you look at the second choices for those students who chose those, and did they have any pattern toward related areas?
We did, and there really wasn't a pattern, you
Yeah.
know.
Because I know those areas all have related areas in this, so for example, DVC, and I remember long ago when we closed data processing and marketing, ed and business technology were, their own shops, but they were put
Right.
together. There are other areas in the building that I just call them dual shops. They had two Chapter 74 programs operating in the same four walls.
Right.
With overlapping curricula, and DVC certainly falls into that marketing area. So I feel like those students who really are interested in that marketing, visual design field, we still are offering them something that they could be interested in. Maybe they don't want that, and they would choose something else, like you said, if they have, that their second and third choices weren't even related.
Right.
But
There's certainly crossover
Yes.
in business marketing and design and visual.
yeah,
And in many of our programs, there is crossover as well. But, that's what I do think of when I think of design and visual, the marketing
yeah.
program.
And, I'll just say it now so I don't repeat it. I feel the same way around engineering, the advanced manufacturing umbrella of the CAD, electronics, robotics, engineering, and the machine technology program, they all have overlapping curricula, and we have vocational areas that can meet those interest levels for those students. It's not a one and done thing, the way I feel like it with early ed. It is it's much more isolated, but these other areas have crossovers. So specifically for design and visual, for the low enrollment numbers, moving forward, I do feel that we still have
There's opportunities.
interest areas for those students.
I agree.
That was their second or third choice.
Questions on design and visual? Mr. Rossi?
Can you review the numbers again, how many kids are in each grade level?
Sure. So it's up there as well, but for grade 9, there's 9, grade 11, 3, and grade 12, 14. For freshmen, it was 4 students enrolled. The thing I keep going back to is co-op. You know, when we talk about kids going out into the workforce, only one of the 14 seniors is out working. It's really difficult to find co-op opportunities for design and visual students.
Okay. And if for DVC, it'll be reduced down to 1 instructor?
This year, for next year, yes.
Okay. So is there opportunity if the interest level comes back to maintain that program, like it's more in like a soft closure, if you will, we see what goes on there?
No, because the students wouldn't be doing an exploratory. They wouldn't be allowed to go through the exploratory program.
Okay. Because it's 1 teacher, so.
No, just because it's closing.
Okay, gotcha.
Mr. Lott?
Thank you.
I guess I would ask a similar question for this, and I guess it comes up for me with design and visual communication as well as engineering technology, and that is the potential role of our comprehensive high schools to perhaps offer these programs if we don't offer these programs. These seem like areas where they may be able to choose innovative pathways to be able to offer some of those programs.
Mr. Irving, if you can mute, we can hear you. Yes, and I think this is an opportunity to expand CTE, which is a huge thing in our state, is to expand more CTE opportunities. And again, if we have the programs here, they can't do it at the comprehensive schools. So again, this is an opportunity for Haverhill or Amesbury to certainly open up a Chapter 74 design and visual program.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
I was going to ask a question in the last one. Is there any chance of, for a couple of years, merging a couple of these so you could run it and then see what happens the next year or two as far as numbers if they reestablish? I mean, this particular CTE, along with the education one, could possibly merge for a couple of years as the construction and masonry could work. I'm just wondering if it's a possibility of putting in sort of in a special room for a couple of years and then check what the enrollment will be then, and resurrect it if necessary, or then drop it. I remember a few years back we dropped diesel, and then we merged that with I think auto tech or something. I'm not sure now. I'm just wondering if a couple of these could be. I mean, teachers need to have visual communication as well as oral communication. I'm just wondering if you could possibly merge those two for a couple of years, see what happens with numbers, and then make a decision at that time.
I think that would be difficult. You know, we have marketing and business. We have 2 teachers down there. You know, students would be allowed to you know, obviously take that. If we ended up needing a 3rd teacher in marketing, we could certainly do that. But it's really hard to merge 2 different programs like that.
Some similarities, I would believe.
For sure.
Mark me as present for the last one.
So a question for DVC that, you know, it's more of a creative, I guess, type shop. What other avenues are there in some of the other shops that are, you know, adjacent, if you will.
Right. Well, we do have art in our program
Mhm.
here. Students are allowed to take that as an elective. You know, design and visual, and then, you know, marketing. Those would be the programs. And really, if you want to, every one of our programs can be creative,
Yeah,
right?
understood. I'm not trying to
yeah.
imply, trust
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm trying to do,
Yeah.
but I think, you know, again, based on what we heard today, the, people that are more inclined to go into, you know, a creative type thing versus a more hands-on or engineering aspect. You know, we're limiting that, but the numbers also show, again, I think it's 30% year over year and then 80% drop from last year, so. Not sure how you know, it's tough to tell if these are blips, but, you know, these aren't trending as blips. I would say when we get into engineering, I have questions on that, but.
Okay. Mr. Fitzgerald?
Yeah, the numbers you said for DVC was 14 seniors, 3 juniors, 9 sophomores,
Yes.
4 incoming.
Yes.
So we saw a dip in it before. So this is just another dip, and it's going to curve back up. I mean, I don't think we can base it all off co-op and what possible jobs are out there. We've heard a lot of people, I feel, today say that they're in that field and they are out there working. So I think there might still be a need there, especially where it's not clear, just significant drop year after year. I think there's a dip before, maybe it's another dip. Just my thoughts.
Mr. Ehrlich?
How many are on co-op on this design visual?
1.
Miss Patty, I have to lean on you a little because you were here for a long time. Not to put you on the spot, but these are big gaps to go from 42 to 30, and there's only 5 that want to sign up now. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, especially, I think also, from my experience, from the long time I was here, between graphics and design and visual, we had multiple areas, and then we concentrated them because enrollment was going down, and it in my view, it continued to decline. So I can see that those numbers, I agree, it does look, it's a little bit like this, but if you look at it long term, it's a more steady decline. I do feel in this area, design and visual, I do know, and Mary mentioned it as well, I know that there are area schools are looking to try to address this need in our local communities, and they haven't been able to because we have the program. And we also have marketing, and we also have business technology, and we also, and so I can see that in the scheme of things, that this is an area that, are we really meeting the needs of our community in addressing, keeping this program versus some of the other programs, when we have to make these tough decisions about how are our dollars being best spent here on the students' education and the needs and the employment needs of the community. So.
These are tough numbers to me.
These are really tough numbers.
Tough numbers. Thank you.
I had a question.
Mhm.
It's kind of a sensitive subject, but I heard it more than once tonight. It seems like the LGBT community seems to be comfortable and accepted into the DVC program. And I know that the school is all about inclusion, and just to hear that and hear it more than once is concerning to me. I know it's part of the arts, and I understand that. But why, like, I don't know if anybody has any answers, but that just doesn't sit well with me.
Can you explain more? Like what
I just hear that it seems like a lot of that population is comfortable in DVC. How come they're not comfortable in carpentry or plumbing or automotive?
I haven't heard that they're not.
Okay.
I'm hearing that they do feel comfortable in design and visual. I hope our kids feel comfortable in any of the trade areas like that. That's our goal, that no matter where they go, that they feel safe and supported.
Okay. I would hope so too.
Yeah.
And I would only add from my experience in my community, I sat through an Amesbury School Committee meeting where they were looking at cutting art and music, and it was very difficult, and I heard very much similar experiences of this is where I feel I can be and, feel accepted and that sort of thing. I don't think it's unique to Whittier, because I heard very similar sentiments in another school committee meeting from, students and parents, and it was difficult, and, the Amesbury School Committee had to make their decisions, and, unfortunately, we're in a similar position.
Was students surveyed at any point in time as to why they all are going towards, certain areas over others?
We've definitely seen a trend of students going to carpentry, plumbing, HVAC, electrical. How could I forget electrical? Over the last few years, we've definitely seen that trend. I think there's a lot of work out there for students if they become journeymen and electricians and plumbers. We do, right, and we do an exploratory where they're supposed to do a reflection about why they chose, what they liked about the shop, what they didn't like about the shop. Do they see themselves, pursuing that career?
Has anybody taken a hard look at that questionnaire?
Well, we don't, because every student has like 24 of them, so that's kind of the parents supposed to go through the exploratory and see what students are and make decisions as families as to what potential trade area they should be going into.
Mr. Lai?
I too, Ms. O'Connor, heard the same thing, and it certainly tugged at my heartstrings. This one is one I have a much harder time with, because I'd love to say, can we just defer this for a year, but I understand that decision has to be made about exploratory and not letting students in. I think the thing that I sadly find most compelling as I look at the data, kind of a data person, is, you've dropped 17 students from 22, 23, 23, 24, and then down 12, and now down 14. There's a clear trend. It's a double-digit decrease over 4 years. It's not just a blip, and as much as it pains me, I feel like the trend seems to be supporting that perhaps this is not a program that is the best investment of our funding.
Any further discussion? For me, this is one that I have a few concerns. The one that probably makes the least amount of sense to me, because it did have strong numbers a couple of years ago, and it's drastically dropped over the last 2 years. Are there any more historical numbers on that program going back a few other years? Has this happened before where the numbers were high, they dropped down a little bit lower, they came back up? Is there any more historical numbers with this program?
I'm sure there are, of course, but we had, Katie wants to say something.
No, I was just saying, to your point, the program did have, as Lil already mentioned,
Yes,
we
3
at one
teachers.
point had 3 people in that area, and that did decrease. The plan was to decrease, but now it's down to 2, and the kids are still not choosing.
Yeah, there was a third instructor in there 2 years ago.
It's just one of the ones on the sheet that there's kind of, the other ones, you can see, this one's more of a drastic drop-off in the program. That's kind of unexplained on why there's such a drastic drop-off, obviously.
Well, and then you look at only 4 students are choosing to take it
Right.
for next year.
That's what I was kind of meaning. If you look at it from a couple of years ago, there was a total enrollment of around 60 kids to now only 4 kids. If that trend was, you do the math, that's a drastic change over the course of a couple of years. Mr. Early?
How many teachers are in here right now in that program?
2.
2? They don't have an assistant? 2 full-time teachers?
2 full-time teachers.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on the DVC program?
The only other thing I would add is, because I'm racking my brain too of like, why, what's going on? And all I can think is like, what are the related areas that maybe we don't really know that students are choosing? Because, like, are they choosing marketing because it's close, there's some overlapping curriculum and they're just saying, I want more of a business side of it than the creative side of it, so.
So marketing had 14 this year, which is high for them.
That's a high number for them, so I think it could just be the demographics and the job market out there that kids and parents are talking about and saying, you know what, go into marketing education instead of design and visual, because you're still going to be able to do that same kind of work, and have that creativity, and maybe come out with a different skill set that is better set for your future. I'm trying to put myself at the dining room table with the 15-year-old, about how those conversations might go.
So, Mr. Early?
I do have one more question. Can this work with one teacher and an assistant teacher? Or a para? This program?
I can make anything work. I can make anything work, but, I mean, if it's going down with 2 teachers, I think it would really be difficult with 1 teacher.
Thank you.
I can't develop a curriculum on the fly here, but are there opportunities to take some of the benefits and some of those creative pieces that the students that we heard today really enjoy and move it into something like marketing? Because I think about, sales and marketing often go hand in hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And marketing here, I think, is more sales-centric, whereas, the other thing, design and visual is more, again, artsy, I would say, right?
Right.
So just food for thought there to be able to create some of the opportunity of the things that kids are learning in there that they can use and pursue in a more art-centric career.
And in the long run, the material, the programming and the equipment that they use currently in design and visual isn't going anywhere. We're not selling that off
No.
to anybody.
No.
So we would still have the photography equipment and those
Yes.
computers, which I know they have some nice ones down there.
Yeah, we would definitely find ways to consolidate and work together and, we want to meet the needs of the kids and their interest. And that's the one thing here that not every trade school is like, but kids, we allow kids, for the most part, except for electrical, to have their first choice. Many schools go down to choice 3 and 4. So, that's hard to have a student in a trade area if that was their 3rd or 4th choice. You're looking for, unhappy kids and probably very unhappy teachers with unhappy kids.
Further discussion?
And one last thing, when I was working here, when I would see low numbers, I was worried about those students going into those vocational areas because students do change. And I recall at least once that it was only a handful of students, 2 or 3 students in a vocational area going into a year that you just worry about them because they don't have the peer group that the electrical kids have with 20 or 30 classmates. It can be isolating, so it's not always the best situation for students either to be in really low enrollment programs.
Further discussion?
So the 4 DVC freshmen chose that. You have 14 going into marketing. If we were to close that, is there room for them to go into marketing if that's
Yes.
what they wanted to do? We have that. space.
Question. Kind of a follow-up to that. Is there someone that would counsel those kids on moving into a different program that would be similar?
Right, so the students haven't chosen their official trade area.
Yeah.
If there were kids that said they were really interested in design and visual, they'd obviously work with a freshman guidance counselor and kind of, work through whatever, what their interests are. We always say if a student wants to sit, maybe CAD's the place for them, right? Because you're sitting at a computer. If you want to be up and moving around, electrical or plumbing, so you try to find areas where it meets, what the kids are interested in, as well as, what they feel like they want to do every day.
But, so overall, these kids that are coming, they're not gonna get their choice.
First choice.
They'll be counseled into.
Yes.
What alternatives
Yes.
for them best if they choose.
Yes.
Still alive?
I think I understand, your plan is to drop down to one instructor next year. Is that correct, for DVC?
Yes.
As you phase it out, and we phased out in the following year?
Yes.
So those 9, 10th graders will be in the same sort of situation as that one EEC?
So the 12th grade this year, next year, the students would finish the program.
Okay.
Yeah, with the teacher. With 10 students or 9 students, they would finish with the teacher. You're trying to do math on me.
I use my fingers, Michelle. I've been worried, so.
Further discussion? Is there a motion? One way or another?
I'll make the motion.
Make a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation on the DVZ program. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Murphy. Any discussion on the motion on the table? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Early?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Ms. Delai?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald?
No.
Mr. Irving?
Present.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Lowell?
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor?
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Slabowski?
No.
Passes.
It passes.
Passes. Next one up is gonna be engineering. Questions on the engineering program?
So were the other two, there was gradual and then pretty significant drop-off. I see increase and then a drop-off, so that looks more like a blip to me than a trend. So curious why we're taking 1 year's worth of enrollment to make a decision to kill a program.
So engineering is one of those programs where there's CAD drafting, there's advanced manufacturing, there's electronics, robotics. If we're looking at consolidating programs, those are programs that the students could consolidate into that would still meet their interest and their needs.
Still doesn't answer the question though, sorry. This is a blip, not a trend to me.
Okay.
So I just feel like we're making a decision based on 1 year of analysis or data, when the trend is actually has historically been going up, except for this 1 year. Okay, so, then, very good, thank you.
And what is the employment for co-op in that field?
So there are 2 seniors and both of those students are in co-op. 2 out of 2.
So most of the students that are in it are sophomores and juniors
Yes.
right now.
Yep. And
So-
six freshmen have it as their first choice.
And you probably don't have the numbers in front of you, but those 2 seniors, I doubt did they start out just as 2 freshmen 3 years ago?
I would have no
I
idea.
know.
I mean, and if you look back at the 20, there was only 1 student. So if you look at kind of taking it diagonally, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so there were probably only a couple of them.
Yeah.
So it started out very low, And it's been steady for 3 years, and then another low. And there's one teacher for all those students.
Yes.
I have a couple questions. When you people talk about co-op, like if you just have one student in a grade level that's in co-op, is that because you had 10 students and 10 jobs and just one student decided to go out? Or was it you had 10 students and one job, so only one child was selected?
I think that varies. You know, there's some students that don't have, you know, their driver's license, so they can't drive to work. There's some students that may not want to go out on co-op. I mean, there's varying reasons for why a student doesn't pursue co-op. But it is an indicator. It's something that we really feel that is really important for our kids, that they get the real world experience while they're here at Whittier, so they have the support, you know, in co-op.
And it's our mission to put them out to work.
I agree with that. I just, you know, if someone doesn't have a driver's license, they might really, really wanna go on co-op, but, you know, they don't have their license yet,
There's always,
you know?
there are reasons, but I mean.
So it's hard for me to put that number in and think, well, there's only, you know, one need out there, because there isn't just one need out there, there's probably a lot of needs, but somebody just doesn't have the transportation to get there.
I think students in engineering, for the most part, are students that are going on to at least a 2 or 4 year college. I think that engineering for CTE, you know, there's not many students that can graduate that can get great paying working jobs until they further their education. And really, you know, our charter is to do that students can walk out the door and get a good paying job.
And the other question I have about engineering is if it kind of gets rolled up into electronic robotics when it comes to the curriculum, which maybe there isn't even an answer yet, but how much of that school year is going to be, you know, engineering, and how much of it's going to be electronic robotics? Is it going to be 50-50? Or,
The students that are in this program right now would stay in engineering. They wouldn't be moving into electronics robotics. We would finish, the students would sunset with their teacher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Further discussion? This one, the numbers are unique, because the numbers have been going up every couple of years. And it's, I'm not sure that they're going down. Like if you take 6 and times it by 4, just say 6 kids in the next couple of years, your enrollment's closer to that 23, 24 number than, of 24 students, than where it started. So this one's a little more unique with the enrollment numbers. Like, you know, DVC, the enrollment numbers were drastically decreasing over the course, as well as early education and care. They were drastically decreasing. This is one of the programs where kind of they're really, there's not a real drastic decrease in this program. It's been fairly consistent, I guess, for that 3-year period, ticking up last year, and then slightly ticking back down to the 23, 24 levels if you assume that the next couple of years would have the same amount of freshmen interested in it. It doesn't go back down to the numbers, you know, assuming the numbers stay the same, you're still above your 22, 23 numbers. So just looking at the data on this one's a little more, for me, a little more tougher to swallow, because I'm not sure that the enrollment that there really is a decrease in the enrollment here.
I think this is about consolidating resources and looking at what we have and then what others are looking to have, as far as expanding CTE programs. You know, with electronics, robotics, with CAD, with advanced manufacturing, we kind of have that whole circle of programs here at Whittier.
Mr. Lyon?
Yeah, this one, I think too, is, you know, because the trend is not as clear as the others, but I respect and understand the point about consolidation. I guess my question is there a sense that if we similar to some of these other programs, if we didn't offer this program, that it would be, there would be some sort of significant, for lack of a better term, startup costs for, say, a comprehensive district to offer a program that would result in the same sort of, similar competencies that engineering technology.
So the question is there a significant cost to a comprehensive school to
Yeah,
open
you
up
talked
the
about the
program?
fact that they're doing a little bit of advanced manufacturing, a little bit of CAD, so if I'm Haverhill High School and I wanna offer this, or Newburyport High School and I wanna offer this, is it gonna be the same experience, because, Newburyport doesn't have a CAD lab and.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be the same experience. I mean, obviously, we have lots more resources because we do have all those sister programs that students are able to use. Yeah.
So essentially, instead of asking them to be part of a very broad, general program, you're gonna direct them to get more specific about a pathway that kind of falls under that engineering technology.
Yes.
Thank you.
Quick question. There's only one instructor engineering right now?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the numbers and thinking that electrical, those kids are going, there's gonna be a certain number of them that have to look to go someplace else. When we talk about these related areas, in addition to engineering, their numbers are all okay, they all can take kids from electrical, and that when I do the math around, there's one teacher, they have one room, they have all this access to other equipment, they've got healthy numbers, and there's a trend of healthy numbers. The math on it makes sense to me to keep the program. As Scott said, I'm having a little bit harder time justifying why financially and educationally we would need to remove that program at this time.
Mr. Early?
How many are on co-op in engineering right now?
2 out of 2.
2 out of 2? Okay. How long's Marine been around?
Oh, I think we're in our 4th or 5th
Yeah, it
year.
was the year I left, so
Yeah.
it says.
So Marine doesn't
Didn't
have
exist
that
in
many,
22, 23.
Yeah.
Marine doesn't have a lot going in either. I have a harder time on this one, but they are run co-op, 2.
2 out of 2. Yep.
Thank you.
Do we know what the CAD numbers have been over the past couple of years?
I don't have their total numbers. I can tell you, I think they got 14 as well for freshmen, but they generally have a pretty. They got 11. 11, close.
I mean, I didn't know,
Yeah.
because engineering's going up, is CAD staying the same, is it going up, is it decreasing? I mean, what's that?
I think it's been pretty steady. If I was to guess, without the, actual data in front of me, I think it's pretty steady.
And there's 2 instructors in CAD?
Yeah.
1 in electronics or 2?
2.
This is one just trying to figure out, kind of your thought process, I guess, around this one. Is it that it was part of an overall consolidation? Because the numbers are obviously consistent. Engineering is a
Sorry.
field that's in demand, and a well-paying job that people need to enter that field. There's certainly a shortage in the workplace of people entering that field. So I'm trying to figure out what your thought process was around that, knowing that the numbers have been fairly consistent. There's not a drastic drop-off like the others. It is something where the workforce is looking for people to go in that field. What was kind of your whole thought process with including this as part of the?
So a couple of things. The students that generally leave this engineering program don't go into the workforce. They're going into college, right? So it's a college prep program. The students, because we have some of those sister programs, electronics, robotics, which works pretty closely with engineering, and then CAD, again, it's just looking at consolidating those programs and using those resources in a better way.
Okay. And I'm not saying to put anything else out, but like, for instance, this engineering program has more than, say, you know, significantly more than like marine technology and things like that. So what was the thought process of putting this one on the block where
Because
the
marine,
numbers were so
right.
high?
So marine technology is not like any other kind of a program. And again, I go back to engineering is electronic robotics, it's CAD, it's advanced manufacturing. It has sister programs that if students are truly interested in engineering, they will get those needs met.
Do you know roughly how many of the kids that take engineering do go to college?
I don't.
But you're not gonna get a job in engineering right out of Whittier Tech.
Yep.
You're gonna have to go on
Agreed.
for
Yep.
post-secondary. But you can get a marine and
Right.
technology job. Living in Ipswich, we like them.
It's just one other question, which probably applies to all of them though. So with the programs that are phasing down,
Mhm.
with one teacher in some cases, concerns about flight risk on that and, you know, the ability to have those kids actually get to graduation in their shop.
What do you, as far
So
as
if I'm,
teachers
if I'm the
leaving?
engineering teacher and I know
Yeah.
I might not have a job 2
Mhm.
years from now,
Mhm.
I might leave. So
Yeah.
do we have contingency plans on any of that yet?
Well, I mean, I can't force people to stay,
Understand.
and that could happen at in any trade area. You know, we just hope that, you know, at the end of the day, we'd also like to try to help too. If they get a secondary license, then they, you know, they would probably, I'd have to read the contract, but I think they would have bumping rights to be able to, stay within the building. So I guess that would be what I would recommend people to do, is to get a secondary license.
Mr. Early?
In the last 2 or 3 months, I've had 2 letters. I'm in the construction business, for ones that don't know. I've had 2 letters sent to me, one from a student here at Whittier Tech asking if I'd let him come this summer, and I got a letter from a student at Central Catholic. So there is interest out there that they do want to get into some kind of engineering. They're not just coming from here going directly into college. I don't buy that. Thank you.
Any further discussion on this one? Is there a motion one way or another on this one?
I make a motion to, follow the recommendation of the superintendent.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Rossi. Any further discussion? Call the roll on it.
Okay, Mr. Early,
No.
Miss Sullivan,
Yes.
Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
Miss Delai,
No.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
No.
Mr. Irving,
Abstain.
Mr. Murphy,
No.
Miss Lowell,
No.
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Miss O'Connor,
No.
Mr. Slavoski.
No.
Motion fails. CCL.
So that program never started.
I just have a question on the FY 2026 budget presentation. We showed 20 students for 24-25 in construction craft labor.
Right, so we split up between masonry and construction craft labor. So now you see 39 in masonry. It's because they were never able to choose construction craft labor.
Okay.
So, construction craft labor, we spent a lot of time, trying to get this program up and going. And Mr. Moskovich spent a lot of time with advisory boards, and, this is hard because when we only got an enrollment of 2. think there are only 2 sophomores, when you talk about that other group, out of 20, I think only 2 of those students were interested in pursuing construction craft laborers. So, that's 4 students, for that program.
Can we find a way to merge this program into the masonry program some way?
I think that's what we're gonna try to do, yes. That's why we put the 39 kids into, masonry. So we can work through with masonry.
Okay.
Yep.
Mr. Murphy?
I really thought this program would take off, and I'm surprised it didn't. And I fully support not having it anymore, but, we do have some equipment involved with it that I think can go to masonry and the other areas without problem.
Right. We'd like to work with DESE, and see if we can do an after-dark program where the other schools come to our school for an after-dark program and keep it for CTI. So, so much work was put into having this program. We'd like to be able to figure a way to hold on to it, maybe not for day school students, but for other students.
Yeah, that was my concern is, it definitely showed the demand. Mr. Moskovitz, did all that work to put the program together, get it accepted, and I think for our entire district population, adults could definitely benefit from it, and I don't think we should completely get rid of it as one of our programs for the adult
Right.
community.
Yeah, so I'll try to work with DESE on that.
Discussion? Mr. Lai?
This is one of those ones that just seems like a failure to launch, and it's super, super sad. I just did a quick look to see what other districts, regional voc techs or high school have this program, and in terms of regional workforce and serving the needs of the region, and it's Essex Tech and Medford, I think, are the only ones with Chapter 74 approved programs. So you do worry about, the pipeline, but with only 4 students, I think it doesn't seem like it's a viable program. And I think when you eliminate it, I'm gonna assume that it's gonna push those students to essentially specialize, right? Construction, craft labor is sort of a general thing. This is gonna require them to specialize in a way that, not to say they weren't gonna get hired after high school with the CCL certification, but they will still, in some of these other trades, be very employable.
And still hopefully go into the laborers union
Yeah.
if they choose to.
And technically, it's one that they could go into from here. A student could graduate from masonry, and then if we have the construction craft laborer as an adult program, they could continue in that.
This one really kind of baffles me that it never took off. I was doing some reading on it. There's in the United States, about 500,000 shortage a year of people that they need in this field that aren't going into this field every year. The demand is there in the Merrimack Valley and throughout the United States, but obviously it didn't take off for whatever reason. I don't wanna, guess what those reasons are. But I would like to, like I said, I'd like to see us try to incorporate as much as we could into the masonry program and then CTI in our After Dark program, because I do think that even if it's an FRI or a CTI, that maybe that's where we'll find some demand for this program, because there's certainly jobs available in this field and employers looking to hire in this field. The numbers are baffling to me that almost nobody was interested in this program, and I don't know if that was a lack of, did we not market it appropriately, did we not sell it appropriately, I think of those things. What could we have done a better job of getting more kids to get into this program, because clearly there's a need. But I don't know the answer to those questions, but I want to see us be able to provide it in another way if it's not this way, because the demand in the workforce, I think, is clearly there.
I agree with you.
Mr. Early?
This is another one that baffles me. We've been in business, and the Early family's been in business 60-plus years. Long time. Never to this day, we're still in business. Did we ever have a problem with help? whether it be an operator or a laborer. To try to teach a laborer how to work, you either have a good work ethic or you don't. And I don't know how this didn't take off. So for that reason, I will not be voting for it. I'm voting to close it. Sorry.
Any other discussion? Is there a motion?
Sure,
Oh,
but we
Mr.
are gonna
Rossi.
keep it as a after dark.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah, gonna try to.
Yeah, if Desi will allow me to.
So we'll try to keep it as an after-dark CTI type program, and
Right, I mean,
we'll try
that's
to
gonna-
merge it as much as possible.
It will take a while to open up an after-dark program. It's not something, but that's something I wanna work with Desi on, because a lot of work was put into, getting the credential for that program.
And we can look at the potential of the masonry program having the proper certifications potentially to bring some of this in.
Yes.
Okay. All right, is there a motion?
I'll offer the motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation to close the CCL program.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Lowell. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Early,
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan,
Yes.
Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
Ms. Delai,
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Mr. Irving,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Lowell,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Slavoski.
Yes.
Passes. With that, we are done on that. We'll take a 5-minute recess. Committee will be in a recess for 5 minutes.
Everyone,
Back in session. Approval of minutes, January 8, 2025, minutes of the regular school committee meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Ms. Delai, seconded by Ms. O'Connor. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Early. Ms. Sullivan.
Yes.
Mr. Rossi.
Yes.
Ms. Delai.
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Mr. Irving.
Aye.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Ms. Lowell.
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor. Ms. O'Connor.
Yes.
Mr. Slavoski.
Yes.
Passes. Payments of bills, financial report, treasurer's report. Kevin Mahoney, is there a motion to approve?
So moved?
second?
Motion by Ms. O'Connor, seconded by Ms. Fitzgerald. Any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes.
Mr. Rossi.
Yes.
Ms. Delai.
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Mr. Irving.
Aye.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Ms. Lowell.
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor.
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor.
Yes.
Mr. Slavoski.
Yes.
Passes. Communications, doesn't look like, is the student here tonight?
No student.
Okay. Principal Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Leganis, school happenings.
All right. A little lighter talk here, so, good evening, Mr. Chairman, Madam Superintendent Lynch, and rest of the school committee members. Some of the school happenings, Whittier Sports, the wrestling team hosted the Travis Yell this past Saturday tournament on February 8th. 9 schools were here, hosted all day and represented. Turned out to be another successful day for Whittier wrestling team as well. Shawsheen, I believe, beat Natick for the title, but Whittier came in third. I know Superintendent Lynch attended that, so thank you for attending that. And the 2 wrestling coaches, or the 3 coaches, shout out goes to them and their continued success with the young team. February 1st started our celebration of Black History Month. Whittier continues to highlight contributions of African Americans and create lessons and discussions to educate students on all aspects of diversity. Callister Green Bird, if you don't know her, will be visiting us again on Tuesday, February 25th during periods 1 and 2. Little bio on her. After growing up in the South during segregation, overcoming several hardships, Miss Greenberg received 2 master's degrees and has worked in education. She is a mother of 8 and has 21 grandchildren, 27 great-grandchildren, and 4 great-great-grandchildren. She's 91, by the way, and sharp as a tack. She walked with Dr. King while he was visiting Haverhill, and has lived here in Haverhill her whole life, and does educational causes for children in Massachusetts as well. Most recently, she was honored by a mural in downtown Haverhill, commemorating her life of service and advocacy. So we're gonna host her again. And like I said, just an amazing woman, and just very sharp at 91, still drives, so it's awesome. Can't wait for the day. All students have completed midterm assessments. We're well on our way through quarter 3. Our new last day lands on Tuesday, June 17th for the kids. Today is and I have my statistician back here, Katrina, 102nd day, I believe. 102 today, so we're cruising along, if you can believe it. We're going to be in the warm weather hopefully soon. Congratulations goes out to the Whittier guidance team for the great work that they do every day for our students and beyond. We've been celebrating and honoring them during last week's Counselors Week. That was last week. We had the billboard out in front, the Jumbotron. It's important to take the time to recognize these professionals and the compassion and their tireless work on a daily basis. I'm always in contact. Superintendent Lynch is always in contact with the guidance counselors on a daily basis, taking care of our kids. It's just an amazing job they do. Just a shout out goes out to Deb Costello, Andy Alsop, Michelle Katina, Joe Krakowitz, Andy Bonifacio, Heather Sweeney, Rachel Rossi, Lillian Levesque, and Dr. Ian Whitney and Lee Gastonway. So thank you very much if you're listening to us tonight. I just got this in from the coaching staff that Coach Bradley just won his 400th game. Yeah, just amazing milestone. Coach is continuing to win these games, and what he's done for kids, and again, talking tireless efforts and all about the kids. It's Coach Bradley, our athletic director. I believe he's already, Ms. Lynch, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think he's already in 3 Hall of Fames, from his colleges to the high schools, and with these type of stats, he's soon to be a Hall of Famer again, probably in Massachusetts somewhere. So congrats, Mr. Bradley, if you're out there, Coach Bradley, to your 400th win tonight. What a milestone. During our winter vacation, Monday, Monday we have the day off, and then the 17th and 21st is our week off. We're offering boot camp for academics and attendance makeup for the 4 days on vacation, and we're offering it from 8 to 2, starting on that Tuesday. So that, so we can help our kids out with their attendance as well as the academics. The guidance team, I just mentioned them. They're at the middle schools, they're doing their interviews, and also our winter sports banquet will be held on Thursday the 13th at 6 p.m. The Booster Club is also, they're selling the merchandise and snacks. And again, shout out goes to Janice McNulty, who I beg every year. I think now her daughter's been out of school now for 3 or 4 years, and she's still with us and still recruiting Booster Club members. So I thank her as well for being there for us. And lastly, this year's high school play is Disney's The Little Mermaid. The dates, if you want to pencil it in: Friday the 14th, March 14th, Saturday, March 15th at 7 o'clock, and then on Sunday, like we have, at 2 o'clock on the 16th. So that's all I have for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Business Manager, Ms. Cosmas, variance analysis.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, Superintendent Lynch, members of the committee, I will be brief. It's been a long night. I know you're tired. The superintendent still has other things. You have in front of you the variance analysis. It's from July through December. Usually I have that for you in January, but it was such an early meeting last month, we did not have time to get the books closed. There were no quarterly transfers made this quarter. The accounts will be balanced at the end of the year. We have frozen the budgets, as many departments appear to have sufficient inventory at this time. However, exceptions will be allowed with justification for enrollment and for health and safety reasons. And another reason that we freeze the budget is the FY26 proposed budget, and you'll hear more from Ms. Lynch about that. We were able to keep it at a very reasonable number, and it's based on the fact that some of the supply requests that they asked for are being purchased at the end of this school year. So that will ensure that there are funds available at year end to make the purchases that they need. We're very much on track. That's all I have.
Any questions?
Okay. Told you it would be quick.
Liaison for Whittier Tech and Northern Essex Community College, Mr. Reagan. Northern Essex proposed building project happening for informational purposes.
Good evening, school committee members, Superintendent Lynch. It's a pleasure to be with you again tonight to update you all on our progress on the proposed shared campus building project with Northern Essex Community College. As you recall, when last we spoke, we were just a few days from the first meeting of the Whittier Tech at NECC Municipal Working Group to begin discussions with mayors, town managers, and other representatives of our 11-member communities. 9 of our 11-member communities attended the kickoff meeting, and we subsequently were contacted by officials from one of the towns who didn't make it to let us know unforeseen circumstances kept them from attending. They asked and received an update and told us there would be future meetings. So we had 9 at the first meeting, and we expect to have, all or mostly all at the next one. Overall, in my view, the meeting was very productive, and just about everyone there expressed interest and optimism in the proposed shared campus partnership with Metro. Dennis DeZoglio, a former Methuen mayor and former Merrimack Valley Planning Commission director who was hired by Superintendent Lynch and the Northern Essex Community College President Lane Glenn, did a great job facilitating the discussion. Dennis has been a great help moving things along. The group reviewed the shared campus PowerPoint we previously showed this committee, outlined Superintendent Lynch's draft capital improvement plan, including the critical need to extensively repair or replace Whittier Tech's 50-year-old and failing wastewater treatment plant, and provided those in attendance with the draft at the UMass Donahue Institute study of the shared campus model. The Donahue study includes an examination of potential new funding streams, project cost-saving ideas, and potential ideas and models for what a joint Whittier Tech NECC high school might look like and how it might be governed. We're expecting the final report and recommendations very soon, hopefully by the end of the month. And as soon as we have it, we'll make sure this committee and the public get a copy. The next working group meeting was just recently scheduled for Tuesday, February 25th, right here at Whittier Tech. To give you an idea of where we are right now and where we're headed, I wanted to give you a snapshot of the next meeting agenda. Still a draft, but what we're planning to, some of the things on there. Once again, we're going to review the Donahue Institute preliminary report, discuss planning towards a new regional agreement with the state and NECC as partners, review highlights from a new architectural space utilization study of the full NECC campus, discuss prospective land uses at the NECC campus, and we'll wrap it up with an open discussion and feedback from everyone at the meeting as to what they would like to see relative to our next steps. We also expect to provide the group at the next meeting with an outline of some of the anticipated outcomes, things we're working towards, along with a proposed timeline for those important decisions that we're also working on. After we determine the location of the new school, which would be on the NECC campus under the shared campus model, we need to first determine the model for the new school, which at one end of the spectrum would be two separate entities sharing a campus, and at the other end of the spectrum would be a single integrated school. Most likely we are looking at something in the middle, two schools with a common identity and shared spaces and services, but at this early stage everything is still on the table. We're going to start this process by looking at the Donahue Institute study recommendations, identifying academic and career training programs we want to keep or add, determine our early college model, decide on our expanded vocational programs capacity, identify shared space opportunities between the two schools, work with the state, and that's DCAM, and legislators to develop a land use arrangement and agreement should we go forward at the NECC site. And lastly, review the NECC Jones architectural study of the NECC campus. To wrap up, as a reminder, Whittier Tech High School was invited into the Massachusetts School Building Authority eligibility phase on December 13th by the MSBA Executive Board. Our invitation into MSBA's eligibility period is not yet an invitation into feasibility study phase. Invitation to that stage will require another vote this coming summer of the MSBA Executive Board. The district's eligibility period is scheduled to begin August 1st of this coming summer and conclude April 28th the following year, 2026. In order for Whittier Tech to proceed into the eligibility phase next summer, the districts must provide a letter signed by the local chief executive of each member of the Whittier Tech member communities that each community is prepared to do three things. First, amend, if necessary, the existing vocational regional school agreement, support the district during the feasibility study phase to examine both the existing site of the Whittier Tech High School and the possible relocation of Whittier Tech High School to the NECC Haverhill campus, as described in Whittier Tech's building proposal statement of interest to the MSBA. Then the last one, number 3, proceed with the understanding that the cost of the feasibility study, the new one, is to be paid for by the Whittier Tech district. And we expect that to range anywhere from $2 to $3 million. So that's my summary right now, and happy to try to answer any questions along with the superintendent that you guys might have, if you have any.
Mr. Lott?
I'm just I'm curious, is there just one committee that's working on this? Is the working group that's?
Right, so President Glenn set up this working group with the local town managers or administrators and mayors, along with either a select board member and a city councilor. And we're just kind of working through kind of the beginning stages. Once we are started into eligibility, part of our job will be to set up a building committee. And that building committee they're asking that building committee, that the cities and towns sign off on who is a member of our building committee. But this is just, this is very preliminary to kind of get us started to thinking about what this might look like.
And what group is tasked with working towards the getting local chief executives to sign off on
That's kind of what we're trying to do.
Is that what you're doing?
Yeah,
through the working group?
there's a sense of urgency on my behalf, because, you know, we need to have, but, you know, the meetings that I've had individually and the phone calls that I've had individually have been very positive, so I'm very hopeful.
Mr. Ross?
This is a public meeting, correct? Like anyone can attend?
So-
I'm gonna ask that.
I mean, nobody's attending, it's
Right.
not like it's a posted meeting or
Okay.
anything like that, it's not like there are votes that are official,
Okay.
so, no.
But if an interested party wanted to
I
come.
think you could come.
Okay. And then, are there minutes of this meeting that could be sent to us after each meeting?
I'll check. I know I'm not writing them, so.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Murphy?
Can you explain who the Donahue Group is and what their role is in this?
Sure. The UMass Donahue Institute is it's like a public policy, group that works with UMass. They're experts in, public policy, education, workforce development, those type of issues. And, they're doing a study, which, Madam Superintendent, have we had any draft copies that we've been able to provide to the
So
school
we
committee
have,
or anybody yet?
the UMass Donahue Institute is a research group. They've done a lot of work with workforce development. So, the regional blueprint, the Northeast blueprint, was done by the UMass Donahue Institute. So they were able to use a lot of that work. They've met with large groups, small groups, talking about this building project, and they're going to give recommendations about what our best way to move forward. But once we get that.
I've been hearing about it, but
I know.
I never really knew what they did or who they were.
We're supposed to be getting the final report in the next week or so, and then once we get that, I'll be happy to share that with everyone.
Thank you.
And they're looking at things like what kind of, alternative funding might be out there, since we're, going to be combining with, with community college. What kind of, what people, institutions that have done this elsewhere, similar things, what they look like, and just giving us options on, how it could work, what we could do, things like that. It's a pretty, it's a pretty comprehensive study, and like the superintendent said, we expect to have a final report and recommendations, very soon.
Thank you.
And also, whether minutes are available or not, I can, after the next meeting and subsequent meetings, I can, do up a summary and send it to, the school committee members, just to give you guys an idea, prior, before I come to the meeting, to give you an update, so you have something to see. I don't know if they're minutes, we'll find out, but if they're not, I'll send something along.
Thank you.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Reports and recommendations to the superintendent. Madam Superintendent.
Just calendar of events, I'll try to read it really quickly. I attended the Merrimack Valley Chamber of Commerce Mayors and Managers meeting. This is a great opportunity for the town managers and mayors to give kind of a brief summary of what's going on in their community. The mayor of Newburyport, Amesbury, and Haverhill were there, so it was nice to hear what they had to say. On January 14th, I attended the Merrimack Valley Chamber Executive Committee in Lawrence. Once a month, I am on Win on the Radio on WHAV. Was it you, Ms. O'Connor, that was listening to WHAV?
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the mornings, on Wednesdays, once a month, I'm on the radio. And it's a great way to be able to share what's going on here at Whittier Tech. On Tuesday, 21st, I met with Dennis DeZoglio, who's working with Northern Essex and us, facilitating these working group meetings. On January 21st, I attended a remote meeting with John Mitchison regarding integrated career-connected learning for students. Council Mitchison has a real passion and continues to want to ensure there's a pipeline for training for the workforce in the city of Haverhill. On January 22nd and 23rd, I attended the MASS Executive Committee meeting and midwinter meeting in Marlborough. This was an opportunity for us to discuss legislative opportunities as we move forward this year. I attended the North Shore Superintendent's Roundtable meeting in Danvers. Attorney Paul Tucker talked about Essex County and how to support our students through the justice system. On Monday, January 27th, I attended the first working group at NECO. And Sean Reagan just gave you an update at this meeting. This was really a special couple of days. On January 28th through 29th, I attended the Leading Now conference in Nashville. This is a national organization for superintendents. This was the best professional development I've had in a very long time. It was a 2-day conference. that had to really think strategically as a superintendent. And as a result, there's lots of webinars, and I have a coach, and it's really, and it's free. It's paid for. On January 31st, I met with Tracy Fuller of the Haverhill YMCA. We discussed ways we could continue to partner with each other. On February 5th, I met with Anissa, my Leading Now coach. As a result of the intense training, I have a year of coaching to discuss problem of practice. I wonder what I'm talking about. No, just kidding. On Thursday, February 6th, I attended a remote early college meeting. I was asked to speak at this meeting about the value of early college programming for our students. On Thursday, February 6th, we had the commissioner call. He gave quite a few updates on competency determination and law changes. And on February 10th, I attended the DESE CTE remote meeting, and DESE provided updates on teacher licensure and programming. And now, all of you have seen this probably about a month ago, but I wanted to take the time to really go through it. And I know we've been here a while, but certainly, I'll go through this, and if you have questions, ask as we go through. So priority one is obviously the wastewater treatment plant. We're in the process of acquiring an OPM to oversee rebuilding or replacing our grade 4 wastewater treatment plant. This has obviously been ongoing. We had the OPM interviews, I think, last week. We're looking to have a contract with our new OPM in the next couple of weeks. So the estimated cost for this replacement is $11 million. We are really hoping that they say we can fix this for $2 million, but we won't know that until we get the OPM on board and really go through what's going on with our wastewater treatment plant. So there's more pictures. Priority 2, the building of electrical distribution panels. All these panels, some of them are from when the building was built. Obviously, electricity and the needs of electricity is much different since then. And they lack existing parts and ability to expand. So this will take a while for us to upgrade them, but obviously we're not going to do all of them, but we'd like to do as many of them as we can so that, again, we can keep this building up and going. The estimate replacement was received at $12,000, and there's an estimated 150 to 160 firm number distribution panels within the facility. So, and that's work that really has to be done after school and in the summertime. So we'll be working on that. Priority 2 with the electrical panels. I said that had to be done on the weekend. Priority 3, the univent heaters in exterior classrooms. These are original to the school. I think anyone that was in a school back in the 1960s has these univent heaters, and the parts are pretty difficult to replace. In fact, Bob goes to some classrooms and turns it on every couple of hours and shuts it off every couple of hours. One classroom we had to put an air conditioner in because we couldn't shut off the heat, so that is interesting. But there are approximately 55 units within the school. And we're waiting to get final quotes on that. We've looked at, again, these univent heaters. We're also looking at duct splits as well, as that might be a possibility. There's a couple of exterior classrooms by the flagpole. Those are the rooms that we're most concerned about with heat. But luckily, they're right underneath the cafeteria, so they get some natural heat from that. Priority 4, the gymnasium Resner, is that spelled correctly?
That's spelled correctly, yes.
With natural gas. The existing rooftop unit is a flame-driven and obsolete with parts lacking availability. The unit ignition coil failed recently and parts were replaced. Northeast Mechanical is unable to locate the replacement parts. We're looking to hopefully have that done over the summer this year. The estimated cost to replace that unit is $92,000. And again, we're looking to have that done in the spring or summer this year. And then priority 5, the exterior brick-facing window door replacement at the Poets Inn. This is something that has been deteriorating, and we also need the doors so that we could open up those I don't know if they're called French doors, but those doors that we cannot open or shut at at this point. So we need to fix that and make sure that that's taken care of as well.
Is that something masonry can do?
It's funny, Mr. Early asked me the same thing. I don't think it is. I think it's more structural. We want to make sure that, we take care of that. And that, priority 6 is the feasibilities funding, which I estimate to be about $2 to $2.5 million for that. So that's something that we will be having to tackle next year with our communities. So that is it very quickly.
Any questions?
Just a quick question. Those are all capital expenses, right?
Yes.
So they all have to be approved by the towns
Right,
collectively?
so how we will do it is we have it as part of our budget. And so we have our budget, and along with that will be the capital assessment. So once they approve that, yes.
Yeah, but will we anticipate pushback based on the way the capital expenses are allocated?
I have not heard that, especially in these meetings, we're having a lot more conversations.
Yeah.
They know we need to do some work. They know we're trying to do work and not, again, be good stewards of the taxpayers, not do work that we don't need, especially wondering about how we're gonna move forward with the building project. But we want to stay open, you know.
Theoretically, right, they
Yeah.
could, one town could not vote for these and we wouldn't be able to
Right.
do them, right?
No, we would.
No.
We would need to eight
Eight out
would
of
have to be
11.
yes out of the 11. If we were borrowing, it's different, but we're not
Got it.
borrowing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But all of these are not gonna be this year's capital.
Some of them, yes.
Some of them are, but
Yes.
not all of them.
Yeah. Well, the $12 million for the new wastewater, no.
The 11 million.
Yeah, yeah.
Any other questions? You need a motion to approve this capital plan.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lai, seconded by Mr. Murphy. Any other discussion? Seeing none, call the roll. How many pens have you gone through tonight?
None of them will work.
Ms. Sullivan,
Yes.
Mr. Rossi.
Yes.
Mr. Lai.
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Mr. Irving.
Aye.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Ms. Lowell.
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor.
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor.
Yes.
Mr. Slavoski.
Yes.
Passes. Old business, no old business posted. New business, no new business posted. Reports of the special committee executive, there's the minutes from January 8th, 2025. Can someone make that as a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Murphy, seconded by Mr. Fitzgerald. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor of the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Passes. Instructional personnel, Ms. True's not here. Is there a motion to pass the minutes from January 15th?
Motion to
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Lowell, seconded by Mr. Irvin. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Passes. Plan operations, Mr. Murphy.
Plant operations did have a meeting, February 4th. The meetings for that meeting, will be available next month.
All right. Salary and negotiations.
Do we have any, do we have a meeting, another meeting scheduled? Okay.
Mr. Early is not here. Policy, Mr. Irvin.
We have not met, we probably will need a meeting sometime this spring.
Actually, if we could do something in February 26th before our next meeting, because we need to set up the competency determination for graduation and then also graduation requirements while we're looking at that finance course as a graduation requirement. We need to get that on the books.
Okay, so when is it, the 26th?
Yep, February 26th at 5:30.
All right.
We have a budget workshop that night too at
Yeah.
6:30, right?
So following the budget workshop probably?
Before.
Before, okay.
All right.
Just a question.
July.
Any progress on the creation of the admissions policy advisory committee? I'm not sure what we're calling it.
The ad hoc committee.
Yeah.
It's on my Post-it note
Oh.
from Lisa. I guess I'd wait, we could do it at the February meeting, because I think there's gonna be some determination about what we're gonna need to do move forward. So I'd rather wait to hear what DESI is gonna do and then move forward after that.
To the March meeting?
Well, hopefully it will be known in February.
26th.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by everybody, seconded by everybody else. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed?
Opposed.
We're adjourned.